Legion, how y'all been? So Dragoons, hey, we're gonna be doing a CardFight Vanguard deck update today, and this was something I asked you Dragoons on Twitter and on Facebook if you want me to do a deck update of this deck currently. And quite a few of you Dragoons on Facebook, Twitter have actually said yes, you want me to do a deck update profile on this deck ever since I picked up cards like Trident, the Nile Griffins, and Defeat Fire Dragons, and ever since I picked up those cards, I ended up putting those cards in and making a couple changes to my deck ever since. And you Dragoons have actually asked me just to do a deck update profile of my Kagero the X Legend deck profile. And ever since I picked up those cards, and ever since I made the changes I made, the deck has been functioning a lot more effective than it's been previously. And I'm glad I was able to pick up the cards I did, because the build has been more functioning, more better, and it's been able to do what's been needing to do the most better than it's ever been before in the past. And yeah, I'm really happy with what the build is. It's not really my final build just yet. There are some things I'm still messing around with, still things I want to tweak out here and there, but for the most part, I am happy with how the build is so far, and the build is currently very successful right now here and there. And yeah, I'll showcase you Dragoons what I'm currently messing around with, and I'll explain to you all what I'm currently doing, what I'm doing with these cards here and there. As always, for those of you all who are just here at NetDeck, I did leave the deck list in the description down below for those of you who are just here at NetDeck. I only ask that you drop a like on your way out. It means a lot to me. It's very appreciative. And with that being said, let's move on straight into the deck profile right now. So, start with the Forerunner. Start off with your Lizard Soldier Fargo. Still playing Fargo. I did mention in my previous videos, and I did mention on one of Zone's videos that he has been due for him. I did like that other Lizard Hero, and Lizard Hero is actually pretty good. However, I do prefer Fargo a little more because I feel like Fargo is a more threatening card, and I feel like Fargo does a little bit more a board control presence type of card than Hero is right now at the moment, especially considering the fact that you already do have other abilities that allow you to search out Overlord here and there. So I feel like Fargo is a better choice for the Hero right now at the moment. Fargo is just an underrated card that people will underestimate a lot. Its ability is free, so you can put in your Solar Vanguard during any time during your turn, and your Vanguard will get the ability, as long as it's Overlord, has the word Overlord of course, your Vanguard gets the ability to end a turn whenever his attack is a hit, whether it's Rearguard or Vanguard, it doesn't matter what attack target is, as long as the attack is a hit, you can retire when your opponent's Rearguards for free, which is just very amazingly. And not to mention that your Overlord will occasionally have abilities where they restand up back up, so to enhance your right player, you can pretty much shoot out 2 or 3 Rearguards with this card's ability alone. That's very powerful. And also, when you Soul Blast this guy and put him back in your deck, do a Legion, whatever such, and you bring him back to your hand, not only is it an extra 10k shield, but you can call him the Rearguard Circle and reuse his ability all over again, which is just insane. So yeah, that's right there was my starting Vanguard. Now for the trigger lineups, for the triggers, we have of course the 4 heals. No explanation, heals important, especially right now with G Guardians. And then for the rest of the triggers, still messing around with the Cajun average original 4 draws and 6 critical lineup over here. Nothing really too special about this trigger lineup over here. This is pretty much a generic trigger lineup that you occasionally see most Vanguard players use these days right here. I really like the trigger lineup right here. Originally, in the past, as you Dragoons know me before, I'm always used to playing 6 draw, 6 crit, but I ended up changing up a little bit, going back to 8 crit and 4 draw, because I want to be as aggressive, and with the way how everything's being a little bit more explosive and how striding is becoming more popular, you want to be able to hit those heavy big hits as fast as possibly can, so you can stop your opponent from hitting those big plays as fast as they possibly can, and that's so important right there. I've even contemplated of cutting out some, if not all, my draw triggers, so I can put in more critical triggers because of how more important that has become and all that such. But I still keep the draw triggers because Gathering Claw Dragon has the ability to countblast 1, put him Soul Vanguard, 2 retire grade 0. So obviously it's another Forerunner shoot on target just in case something like that happens. But we'll see what time happens, what time comes when we do more for test playing, and see what I'm more comfortable with right there. And that right there was the trigger lineup. Now for the grade 1s. For the grade 1s, we have four perfect cards on the Protect Orb Dragons. Now, we did recently get some new Perfect Guards for Kagero, and they are kind of cool, I will say. However, I prefer Protect Orb Dragon for a lot of obvious reasons. One, I prefer unflipping abilities over drawing. Two, the deck does do a lot of draw, has some draw abilities and search abilities already as alone. So those types of abilities don't really become really too useful. And three, this card is a Flame Dragon, which is not only good because I'm a person who loves Flame Dragons, but you are playing Dragon Overlord the Legend, and unlike those new Perfect Guards, none of them are Flame Dragons, and none of them can be added from your deck to your hand by the effect of Dragon Overlord the Legend. So I'm playing these guys over Legend any day, at least right now, at the moment at least. And then next up, we played 4 copies of Lizard General Kagero. A really nice, amazing new addition to Kagero. His ability is, when he's calling rear guards, he's 7k power by the way, so he's a decent booster right off the bat. But regardless, his ability is, when he's calling rear guard circle, reveal a grade 3 in your hand, and if you do, search your deck for one card from deck to your hand. That's where Overlord in his name, and then after you add a card, shuffle your deck, ditch one card, and that's it. Also, has the ability of, you can retire this unit to give your Overlord. Give your Vanguard the word Overlord in its name. The ability of, when it attacks, you may unflip 2 cards from face to face. That'll do for damage face up. So that is a very powerful ability. Kagero is just really nice because I can potentially search out the Overlords I really need the most, depending on which situations. He also potentially sets up for more stride plays, which is always very good. And also, what's really nice about Kagero is that he has that retirement ability for himself, to where your Vanguard gets the ability to unflip your damage, which is very powerful. And also, what's really nice about him is that if you end up pitching Overlord with this guy's ability, no problem. You can either just Legion him back into your deck, B, you can use Defeat Flare Dragons back to put him back in your deck, or C, you can just use Dragonic Burnout. And Dragonic Burnout, as we all know, is just amazing Kagero. And then everything else for the grade 1s, we have three copies of Lava Flow Dragons. Only 3 is really necessary. 4 is not really the best right now. 3 is perfectly fine right now. Nothing really too special. Just into Strike Flyers, nothing else more than that. And then finally, 3 copies of a card that I'm currently messing around with, and it's actually doing pretty good. And that is 3 copies of Lizard Soldier Balog. For those of you who do not know what he does, his ability is GB1. When this unit is called the Guardian Circle, and the attack is not a hit while he's guarding the attack, his ability goes off. You can retire any rear guard that is currently in rest position. So this allows you to give you options to pop off some annoying rear guards. And what's really good about this card right here is that there are a lot of players these days who have rear guards that happen to have abilities where they come right back into your hand after they do certain things in particular. And this card right here just happens to be an amazing out of 2 cards like that. And yeah, I'm really digging this card in general. And he's been really working out pretty well for me, actually. I'm really glad I was able to pick him up very... Sorry, I'm just looking at time on camera. And I'm really glad I was able to mess around with him as I've been, because he's been a pretty good assistance for the deck as of late. And that right there was the grade 1s. Now for the grade 2s. The grade 2s, we have the obvious 4 Dragonic Burnouts. By mere cause, Soul Blasting 1 when he's called a rearguard circle. You can not only get it over from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck, but retire any rearguard on your opponent's board right off the bat, which is just amazing. Burnout, you just can't go wrong with Burnout. And then next up, we have 4 copies of Emperor Dragon Knight Holmes. This dude is just insane. You are playing Legend, so once you get your combos going with Legend, this guy alone can become a 21 beater out of nowhere. But if you do, but as long as you strike these ones, and even as long as you attack these Overlord these ones, this guy does become Great War Vanguard. I'm sorry. As long as you're Vanguard with Overlord, and obviously you're always going to Vanguard with Overlords, but most likely he won't get the extra 5,000 power if you don't get the Legend combos going. He'll just be, or Aces combos going. So he'll be a 16 attacker, which is not bad, but occasionally you want to get your Legend going or your Ace going very well, so this guy can become at least a 21 beater. And when this guy becomes a 21 beater, your opponent is going to have a hard time dealing with them. They're going to be using some resources just to block them off. And then finally, 3 copies of Twilight Arrow Dragon. Now I choose Twilight Arrow Dragon over Berserk Lord Dragon because Berserk Lord Dragon was, to me, it's only better if you're playing a deck that's focused on only Dragon Overlord the Legend. And as you all know, this deck is a little bit focused on both Dragon Overlord the Legend and Dragon Overlord the X. So, and I feel like Twilight Arrow Dragon is more cooperative with both sides of the deck, whereas Berserk Lord Dragon is only cooperative with only legend-based decks. So for right now, at the moment, I feel like the Twilight Arrow Dragon is a better target over, or better choice, pardon me. I feel like Twilight Arrow Dragon is a better choice over Berserk Lord Dragon right now at the moment, but that's just my opinion right now. And yeah, but it's a really great card in general. When he attacks the Vanguard while he's being boosted by Kagero, Counterblast 1, retire any grade 2 rear guard, or less rear guard, which is still a very powerful ability in general. At least that's what I like. And that is it for the grade 2s. Now for the grade 3s. For the grade 3s, we play 3 copies of Dragon Overlord the X, 3 copies of Dragon Overlord the Ends, and then 2 copies of Dragonic Overlord the Legend right here. Now this is a very weird grade 3 choice ratio right here as such. The deck is a little bit more focused on a little bit more anti-meta style, as many of you may have noticed by now. This build right here is still focused on Stride more often than usual, but it's trying to mix things up a little bit. It's trying to mix up the Legion build right here. It's supposed to use the Stride mechanic to put some pressure on the board as fast as it possibly can, and then when you know by fact that your opponent is back against a quarter, then you use the Legion mechanic to utilize your cards back into your deck, and then set up a good board presence where you have at least a decent Vanguard going on, such by itself, at least a 2200 on guaranteed that can attack 2 to 3 times. So it's really based upon the situation. So the X and N are great for recovery, and the Legend is obviously great for heavy, aggressive, powerful plays. It's really based upon how you see right here. And this ratio right here has been very successful right here because I've been able to establish some very great powerful field presence here and there ever since I tried this trigger this great 3 lineup ratio right here, and it's been doing pretty good. And that right there was the main deck. Now for the Strides. For the Strides, we're still playing 2 copies of Vortex Desire. Still your go-to guy you stride into the most, so you can get your combos going, so you can get further on into your stride plays sooner. If you don't get his on-hit ability off, it's not the end of the world. You just really use him. You just really need him in order to get your strides going. That's about it, really. But if you do get his ability going off, it is pretty good on hit. And since you are playing nothing but Flame Dragon as Vanguard, most likely you will retire 2 rear guards guaranteed. But if your Vanguard happens to be Legion, X and N, and then his attack is a hit, that will be 3 rear guards for free out of nowhere with this guy's ability. So it can be pretty good based upon situations, but again, if we don't get the ability off, no big deal. Worst case scenario, it's just mostly there for so we can get our more important strides going faster than possible, fast as possible. Pardon me. And now with the Strides, still playing 4 copies of Dragon Overlord the Ace, and only 2 copies of Novel Voyage, and that's about it really as such. Now, the reason why I'm playing this trigger, this great stride ratio right here for these guys right here, as I mentioned earlier with certain cards in particular, sometimes our opponent will play a little bit too defensive, and they'll actually on purposely hold back off calling their rear guards, and these guys right here are great for not only for situations for that, but also when you're done with the massive huge retirement abilities, and your opponent has very minimal to guard off against you, and you just conveniently have these ready for the options. And if your opponent is on defensive on purposely, and they don't call their rear guards, this is right here great to make your opponent pay for that, because then right there you can go on all out aggressive, go out with a big huge heavy attacks. This can attack multiple times, and this can attack, and while this is attacking, your opponent cannot use grade 1s to block all the attacks. So no perfect guards, no quitting walls, or anything such. Especially when you got a good booster going on, their only hope to block this card off is a good heck of a lot of triggers, a good interceptor, or G Guardian, and that's really about it. And other than that, by then you will take away a good portion of your opponent's resources if you somehow don't win. But if they don't block your attack, then you will most likely get some good triggers going on that could win you the game right there. And then here's where things get really interesting. We are now finally playing 4 copies of the new card. We now have this deck that is 4 copies of Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon, Dragon Blade Master Trident. For those of you who do not know what he does, his ability is GB2, Counterblast 1, choose a face down card from your G zone and turn it face up. choose up to the same number of your opponent's rear guards as the number of face-up cards, and you pretty much itself, and your G so face up. Retire them, retire them, and until end of turn, this unit gets the ability. If this card is blazing, this unit gets +1 critical. So, if I remember correctly, how blazing works, blazing means that if your Vanguard is attacking while you have at least 2 or more rear guards than your opponent, so most likely a good portion of a lot of rear guards, and your opponent has very minimal rear guards, he will get the blazing, and as Billy says, while he is currently blazing, he will get an additional 1 critical, I believe. Yep, 1 critical. So he'll be swinging with 2 critical at your opponent, and that's not considering how who's boosting him, and that's not considering what you will get on your triple drive. Trident is just great because while Ace and Novel are great to make you punish your opponent for playing overcautious, Trident is great for making your opponent pay for overextending, and this card will knock out a good portion of your opponent's rear guards while swinging your opponent's Vanguard with some huge massive power and additional critical out of nowhere. That could, if not guarantee you the win, at least guarantee you some really great establishing field presence to where you push your opponent back to the point where they may not be able to fight back that hard when their turn comes, which is just amazing. And now with the G Guardians, for the G Guardians, we play 3 copies of the now Griffins and 1 Defeat Flare Dragon. Defeat Griffins, they're really nice. Their abilities is what they're called Guardian Circle. All they require is Soul Blast 1 card, and then you can retire 1 rear guard that's currently attacking. So obviously this is great for those rear guards that happen to be super annoying, that are hard to take on. And when that happens, boom, you got Now Griffin to pop him off right there out of nowhere. And then Defeat Flare Dragon, his ability is choose face down, choose 2, count last 1, choose 2 grade 3 or greater Flame Dragons from the drop zone, and put them from the bottom of the deck in any order. When this unit is placed in Guardian Circle during the battle, your Vanguard Overlord, its card name is attacked by your opponent Vanguard. You may pay the cost. If you do, retire all your opponents in the back row. So this allows you to not only recycle your grade 3s back into your deck, but this also allows you to pop off literally your opponent's entire back row. I play only 1 of these because I don't know how often my opponent will have a full grade 3 back row, and unlike the previous G Guardians I've used before, these guys right here don't have abilities where they increase their defense really too much, and I'm not really 100% sure if I'll always have triggers and these guys working together to block off my Vanguard. So only 1 of these is really necessary for right now at the moment. With some further test playing, maybe I'll pull this guy up to a higher number, but for right now at the moment, 1 of him and 3 of these guys are doing just perfectly just fine. And yeah, I really like these guys in general. I'm really glad I was able to pick them up when I did. And yeah, Dragoons, that right there was my Kagero the X Legend deck update. I'm really liking how this build is so far. The build has been working a lot more smoother. I'm happy with how the build is so far. There is some further test playing this deck will go through further on, and there will be probably some further changes this deck will eventually go through in the near future. And with that being said, let me know, Dragoons, take those deck profiles in the comment section down below, and I will see Dragoons around. Hope you Dragoons enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, hit a favorite if you did, and share this video with other people. It really helps me out a lot. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Keep up with updates about myself and the channel. And subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I will see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.